All right, all right. Great evening. We are live. Great evening, everybody. I am checking in on social media. Happy Transformation Tuesday. Happy Thankful Tuesday to everybody jumping on. I want to say hello. We're going to give it a few moments and we're going to get this party started. I hope everybody is having a very happy holiday season. But I'm going to spend a few moments with you tonight, just sharing, right? Because I know somebody out there is looking for something, all right? So, great evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the connecting link, all right, where I'm going to take the time to connect you to success, to connect you to your dreams, to connect you to the victory, to connect you, y'all, because I know that there's some people out there that suffer. I know that there's some people out there that struggle. I know that there's some people out there that want more. 2023 is now, and I'm going to share with you how real one yes you can turn your entire life around. So, great evening, everybody. Tag, share, tell somebody that this lady, I don't really know who she is. I think her name is Tim McCray. She's about to drop some nuggets on here that I tell you, pain for real is the greatest teacher. But you got to learn the lesson. You got to learn from the mistakes. You got to take the time to know, and without a shadow of a doubt, that as you go through the struggle, as you go through the pain, that the best is absolutely yet to come. So get ready, get excited. We're going to give it about another 30 seconds. All right, tag, share, tell somebody. Change. It's not now, but it's right now. So great evening, everybody. Welcome to the Connected Week. Happy Transformation. I hope everybody had a very Christmas and are ready for the new year. Because when you prepare, when you make up your mind, when you say that against all odds, when you say that beyond a shadow of a doubt, you see, that's when change begins to happen. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that my next will be my best. And so I'm here to help change some lives tonight. So great evening, everybody. Welcome to the connecting link. All right, let's go ahead and let's get this party started. All right, all right. Let me see. Great evening, everybody. Dun. All right. So great evening to everybody out there in Facebook, to everybody out there on Instagram. I want to say welcome. And YouTube, right? I'm definitely on all of the channels. I want to say welcome to this incredible conversation that I want to have with each and every one of you tonight. I pray blessings and peace in each and every one of your households as we have really just celebrated another holiday season, as we are in the midst of one, ready and preparing for the new year. I hope that each and every one of you are excited, that you are ready. But I also want to speak to those out there that I could definitely relate to, because it wasn't that long ago. It may seem like a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago in which we knew exactly what it felt like to be in pain during the holiday season, and in pain to the point where we didn't know how the bills were going to get paid. We didn't know where that next meal was going to come from. We didn't know how we were going to put those Christmas gifts under the tree, right? To be able to see the smiles on our children's faces. They woke up ready and excited on Christmas morning, but we figured out a way, but we didn't know how we were going to get those bills paid in January. You see, I want to talk to that mom, that dad, that auntie, that uncle, that grandma, that grandpa, anybody out there who can relate, because we're living in a world, number one, it's different times. It's a different season in which so many people are just struggling in general, just simply because of the economy and what the world is going through. The gas prices are up, the food prices are up, the cost of living is up, the interest rates are up, the rents are up, everything is up. However, we find ourselves in a position where that paycheck is either remaining the same, or that paycheck has somewhat taken a step backwards. And so I can tell you that we can relate, just simply because we've been through the ups and the downs in what we call life. I have an incredible BFF by the name of Mr. Nathan McCray that I'm forever thankful and grateful for, because God blessed me with him a little over 33 years ago, in which I can tell you that when we got together, when we decided to say yes to one another forever, that we didn't have two nickels, we always say, to rub together, but we had the foundation, and that foundation was love. And we always knew that with God first, family, and everything else, that God would always make a way. But I could tell you that it wasn't easy. I could tell you that there were many times in which I felt like giving up. I could tell you that there were many times in which I did not believe in myself because I didn't understand the power of God and the greatness that God had put on the inside of me. You see, I knew how to quote scriptures. I knew how to say that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. However, I can tell you that I didn't believe those very words, because the very things that I spoke was not the very things that I was doing or the woman that I was becoming. But I can tell you, it's something about when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's something about when you begin to realize and recognize the greatness that God has put on the inside of you, that greatness begins to manifest on the outside. You see, when I began to change the way that I looked at things, the things around me began to change. And I began to understand that the things that my husband used to tell me as we looked at each other, not knowing how we were going to keep the lights on, the things that he used to tell me as we looked at each other, as I had to get up and put something on eBay and have it sell in 24 hours so that we can have a meal the next day. As we looked at each other, not knowing how we were going to put gas in the car. We had $1 left in the bank, and we would know that we could go to that gas station, fill up the gas tank, and beat that NSF, because the paycheck was going to hit on a Friday. I can remember him telling me, baby, it's going to be all right. But we didn't have all the answers, right? As he helped me to understand IAO and improvise and adapt and overcome. But I could tell you, as that wife, as that mother, those weren't the words that I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear, let's figure out how to fix this thing, right? But I can also tell you that as a woman who always wanted change, as a woman who knew that there was more for God to do for me in this world, I didn't believe in myself. You see, somebody right now is watching this live or will watch this replay, and you don't believe in the very thing that God has put in your heart. You don't believe in the very vehicle or the very avenue or the very gifts that God has put in your heart. And I want to say, as we go into a new year, as we go into 2023, make a decision that your story, you will turn the page, and that you will be the very one to punch fear in the face. Because I could tell you, that's all I did. I just simply made a decision. You see, I remember being that little girl that grew up in Paterson, New Jersey, very shy, very afraid. I wasn't the cutest thing, I could tell you. I had the buck teeth, I had the big, thick glasses, and as a result of it, I had very low self-esteem because I was teased a lot. I wasn't the kid that everybody liked, right? I wasn't that girl. But I can tell you that I didn't realize that I carried those things into adulthood. And when I wanted to create success in the very things that I knew would help to bring our family beyond the get over, the get by mentality that so many people can end up having just simply because this world teaches us to settle, we knew that we had to change. And I knew that I had to change. So it was in that very moment as I made a decision to, number one, grow mentally. You see, I had to work on myself. I had to begin to speak the very things that I did not see and to believe that it could one day become my reality. So as I got up and I was afraid and I was allowing that fear to stop me, I began to speak things like I am bold, like I am fearless, like I am victorious. And these things began to become my reality. But I can tell you too that it was a season in our life in which things had began to spiral backwards. How many of you right now are going through a season in which things are not going in the direction that you intended them to go at the end of 2022, right? How many of you are in that position? But how many of you believe that you can turn this thing around? Because it starts with the belief. You see, I can tell you that as Nate and I were building this thing called life together, the ups and the downs, we had the corporate America, the income coming into our household as Nate was an engineer, but we looked up and right around Thanksgiving 8 years ago, that's when corporate America said goodbye to my husband, to the very job, to the very thing that was feeding our family. We realized at the holiday season time that corporate America doesn't care whether your kids eat, Corporate America doesn't care whether you got a roof over your head, because we ended up in that situation. Corporate America doesn't care whether you got Christmas gifts or any of that. Corporate America doesn't care whether you can pay your bills or not, right? We found ourselves in that type of pain. We found ourselves in a position where we were no longer robbing Peter to pay Paul, but how do we just figure out how to pay Paul? How do we figure out how to pay Peter? How do we figure out how to pay anything? Because things were definitely in a position where we didn't know how we were going to make ends meet, connect, or do anything. But I can tell you that the pain and the process was the very thing that I realized I had to go through and grow through in order for one day for God to connect me to the perfect thing that would bring forth change in my life. You see, it was a season in which I had put on some weight. So many people around the world right now are struggling with their weight loss goals. They're struggling with their health goals. And we all know that our health is our greatest wealth. And I can remember being in a season in which right around this time, not only as the baby of 5, I was a caregiver to my parents. And I remember right after saying yes, as I was connected to some incredible products that I'm going to tell you about that helped to change my life physically. It's a season in which in December of 2015, on Christmas morning, I lost my mom. And I'll never forget that moment, because it was right in the midst of being connected to the very thing that began to change our entire life. But yet, I lost my mom, and this was the greatest pain that I had ever experienced in my life. But I knew that in the midst of the pain, I had to keep pushing. I knew that in the midst of the pain, I had to keep going, because this thing wasn't about me, but it was about all of the people, all of the individuals that through this connection, through this incredible opportunity that God was connecting me to, that, it wasn't about me, but was about all of the lives that I was called to help to impact and to help change. And so I could tell you that the pain kept pushing me forward. But as I was being pushed forward, I was introduced in a season in which I was overweight. I had belly fat that I didn't know how I was going to get rid of. And so I started to sip on some tea that literally began to change my entire life. It looks like this, but I can tell you it's something that began to cleanse my body out. It began to clean me out, all of the toxins and all of the chemicals. You see, I didn't realize that not only do we have to clean out our minds, but we got to clean out our not only our mind and our spirit, but we also got to clean out our bodies physically in order to be healthy, in order to live life to the fullest. So I began to sip on this tea, not realizing what it was going to do in my life. And it was in that season that I was able to drop some weight. I say drop some weight because somebody right now has been doing everything under the sun. You see, I was in the gym. I was working out. I had plateaued, but I needed that boost. How many of you need that boost? How many of you need that for real change? How many of you are sick and tired of getting some results and then going back and putting the weight back on, right? How many of you are tired of that yo-yo situation? Because when I began to sip this tea and I saw what it did for me as it cleaned out my body, I was able to drop the weight. You see, I didn't know that as I began to drop this weight, that this was the very connection, this was the very opportunity that God would help to bring forth change, not just in my body physically, but also in our family financially. You see, I kept sipping the tea. I kept sharing the tea, but I was also introduced to an incredible product that I got to tell you about my dad. You see, there's this vitamin right here, right? And this is the baby one, because we have something called the 15-day challenge, in which if you just commit to your life for 15 simple days, I guarantee you it will completely turn your entire life around. But it comes in a big bottle like this. But this NutriBurst, you see, in the midst of the pain, after losing my mom, my dad, his health started to fail. And I looked up and I said, Lord, please, give me the answer, because I cannot lose my dad. Now, I just lost my mom, but I can tell you his health was failing. it was spiraling backwards where he was flat on his back. He stopped responding. And I just want to let you all know that these are just some personal stories that I'm sharing with you guys, and that results for real vary from person to person. But in this season, as I watched my dad's health declining, I went to the caregiver and I said, give my dad 1 tablespoon of this incredible liquid vitamin, please. And I can tell you that as my dad was put on this service, that most people know when they're put on this service, they really don't have much longer on this earth. But I just want to share with you that at that time, my dad was about 92 years old. So I give God all of the glory because he had lived a long life. But I was being selfish. I wanted more time as his baby girl. And so I can tell you that after giving him this NutriBurst, not only was he released from that service, ladies and gentlemen, but on top of it, my dad started to have full-blown conversations. His memory got incredible. You see, he went on to live for 4 more years. And I'll never forget the day as I got that call on that morning, that Monday morning, that my dad had passed away. But I was thankful because at 96 years old, it wasn't his health. He was just done. His purpose here on this earth was done. And I thank God. And that's why I'm so passionate about these products. I'm so passionate about health. I'm so passionate about bringing health to each and every one of you around the world, because without it, ladies and gentlemen, we have nothing. And so this product was another one. But then I could tell you, you know, there's some busy moms out there. There's some busy dads out there. There's just busy people in this world in which many days you get up and you don't know how you're going to get it done. You may get up and you may have to go to a job that you really don't like, but you got to do what you got to do, what you got to do, what you got to do, right? Well, I could tell you, I remember being that busy mom who all of a sudden, through the sacrifices that had to be made, you see, I was that stay-at-home mom in a season in my life in which, you know what? My kids were used to me being there for everything. But sacrifices had to be made in the midst of the struggle. Sacrifices that ultimately would be able to now give them a better life. You see, our kids didn't deserve no, and they not knew that unless we chose to tell them no. You see, when we had to tell them most of the time no, it wasn't because we didn't want to. It was because we couldn't. And so we realized that, you know what? Change was necessary. So in that season, as life began to get really busy, as I kept sipping the tea, as I kept sharing these products around the world, I was introduced to an incredible product right here called NRG. And when you say it fast, it's energy. You see, this product began to give me the energy that I needed to make it through the day. This product began to help me to focus. This product began to give me the mental clarity so that I could think better, so that I could believe in me more, so that I could go out and so that I can get it done. But I also want to tell you how it blessed our 23-year-old son. Many of you, some of you have seen him, but this is a kid who was set up to fail academically by the school system. But I can tell you, not only has Christian been able to grab a hold of this incredible product, but that kid now not only has an associate's degree, but the kid that was deemed to fail, the kid that for real didn't have a future when it came time to what they believed in his abilities through the school system, is now a senior, about to graduate with his bachelor's degree on a full ride basketball scholarship, able to live the life that he has always dreamed of, or will dream, or has dreamed of, because this is just the beginning. And so I say to everybody watching tonight, who out there is depending upon you? Who out there, maybe it's your child that deserves a better education. Maybe it's your child that, you know, needs to believe in something bigger than what the current situation is. Because I'm thankful, because one, yes, has been able to do so much in our entire lives. But it all started with me making a decision that not only did I have to change mentally, but I had to change physically in order to bring about the financial results that we wanted to see happen in our life. And so as I kept sipping, as I kept sharing, as change began to happen in our life, you see, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at a woman who went from the struggle to for real success. You're looking at a woman who, because we said yes to an incredible opportunity, as we began to lock arms with a community of people, began to create a culture of change, as we began to focus on our minds, on our body, then the money began to come into our household. You see, somebody out here is not only struggling physically, because if you're struggling physically, if you have some New Year's resolution goals, and I want you to get back with the person who invited you on this live tonight and say yes to you. And let's knock out your health goals, because you deserve to live life to the fullest, and self-love is taking care of you. And I had to learn that for real, because I was that woman who gave up myself to everybody else, but put me on the back burner. But then there was change. And as I began to focus on me and help to change the lives of others, I could tell you that financially, things began to shift in our household. So if you're watching this tonight and you're saying, you know what, Pam, the holiday season is here. Christmas is now over. But yes, I spent some money that I don't know how I'm going to get back. You see, I'm getting up and I'm working this job day in and day out. I'm sitting in traffic for 2 to 4 hours a day, but I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. You see, Nate and I learned a long time ago that the only way to change things is that we got to make a decision to change it. And so opportunity is knocking. Yes, this is your sign. Because a lot of times people don't believe in the very things that can literally turn your entire life around. But I thank God that we made a decision to believe in a profession that as a little girl I was introduced to, as I watched my parents, as my mom was an educator, as my dad was a master barber and owned many businesses. I watched them in this profession time and time and time again. So I believed in it. Even though Nate and I had tried so many different businesses, you see, we failed for over 20 years in this profession. We failed from company to company to company to company. But I like to say that we failed forward and we grew and we embraced our process in order to be connected to the perfect opportunity that would bring this change. So if you want to know how you can say yes tonight and get paid tomorrow, then I got to tell you that I got to shift gears and tell you about a compensation plan that not only pays us every single day, but in the times in which we didn't realize 8 years ago how we were going to be able to eat. 8 years ago, how we were going to put a roof over our kids' family. These products, as we connected to the compensation plan, started to bring in checks that paid the bills, checks that allowed us to be able to put our son in that private boarding school called Oak Hill Academy, in which we paid cash for. You can Google and see the tuition for 1 year plus a summer school. That allowed us to be able to bring the type of income into our household that allowed us to be able to be a blessing in the lives of other people, that allowed us to be able to do things like when I realized that when my mother got sick, that they had no life insurance. When my dad passed away, they had no life insurance. You see, this compensation plan allowed us to not have to do GoFundMes, but to take care of them while they were alive and to lay them to rest when they went on to glory without any debt. And so if you want to know how you can start today and pay your bills tomorrow, one of the ways that we get paid every day is by sharing the products. It's called retail. You see, I learned a long time ago that you either got to learn to sell something or just simply die for real, because you got to sell something in life. What are you going to sell? And so as I began to become a product of these products, as I began to lose some weight, as I began to feel good, have more energy, and now share my story and the stories of others, people said, how can I get that tea? So I started to tap into retail, and now it's every single day in which our company is going to literally cut you a check. And now you can pay that light bill. Now you can pay that car note. Now you can be able to give your child that lunch money that they need. But when you have the products in your hand, you could go out and you can say, you know what? Clean out your body. Try this. $20. And I never forget, because when we needed it the most, I hit the streets. And as I started to sell this tea, as I started to share my story and the stories of others, it created that cash in my hand on demand. Somebody right now needs some cash in your hands on demand. And I could tell you, change is now. But as we kept on sharing the tea, I could tell you that on top of it, I realized that, you know what, there's people out there just like us. There's people out there that are looking for more. There's people out there that are sick and tired of working the 40-40-40 plan, where you work for 40 hours for 40 years to retire on 40% of your income. You see, Nate and I realized a long time ago that the 40-40-40 plan would never work, just simply because of the fact that we couldn't survive off of 100%. So how are we going to survive off of 40% of our income when we get older? You see, my parents had the 401ks. They had all of that stuff saved up. Nate and I had the 401ks, but we went through it when we got broke, for real. But I watched my parents, multiple six figures, quickly disappear, savings, as we tried to take care of them in the best of the best assisted living facilities and caregivers and things of that nature. It was gone like that. So what is your plan? So I realized that there's people out there that want more. There's people out there that don't want to settle. And so I started to tap into what we call a fast start bonus, as people started to join, and our company said that, you know what, we're going to pay 50% when people decide to say yes to our company, when people decide to say yes to our opportunity. So more and more people started to say yes. And these weekly paychecks started to come into our household. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that this is something, no matter what you decide, however far you want to take it, that you could tap into and literally create unlimited income day in and day out. And then as our people started to come and people started to say yes, our team, a team that I had always dreamed of, a team in which, as Nate and I went from company to company, and yeah, we had some people join us, a few people join us, but this was an explosion, because we realized that so many people, especially at the top of the year, want to lose weight. So many people at the top of the year want to make some money, because those are the two top goals, no matter what country you live in, America, no matter where you are, Jamaica, the Bahamas, it doesn't matter. Japan, it doesn't matter, right? Dominican Republic, it don't matter. Everybody want to lose some weight and want to make some money. Our team started to grow. And we realized that, you know what? We could make up to $25,000 a week, more than that, on one way of pay. And as we realized this, we said, how many people can we help? How many people, how many more lives can we change? And as these things began to happen, this incredible company started to put rings on our finger, just simply as a celebration and a thank you, saying, yes, let's continue to change lives. You see, it's a movement, ladies and gentlemen. You have to ask yourself, are you going to stand still in 2023? Or are you ready to move? Time and time again. You see, the pain was my greatest teacher. I realized that I could no longer fake the funk. I realized that I could no longer do the things as I celebrated the success of others, as I clapped and I said yes, And I wanted to believe that one day it was going to be, but I'll be me and me, but I wasn't putting in the work. You see, there is no success without some work. It's not a get rich quick scheme, but I can tell you, it's called change. And so this opportunity literally is something that I can go on and on with how we get paid over here. But the real question is, do you want change in your life now? Because when you get yourself to that point in which, like I was 8 years ago, a woman who wanted change, a woman who allowed fear to stop me, a woman who really, when I think about it, didn't even understand self-love. I wanted to help and change the world. I wanted to be liked by everybody. I didn't realize that, you know what, everybody is not called to me and everybody's not gonna like me. But I knew this thing called purpose. And by saying yes, it helped me to understand my purpose. By saying yes, I thank God because I didn't realize how my parents were going to need me. By saying yes, I thank God for every single individual that has made a decision to believe in more. There is more for you. Don't you ever give up. Pain is your greatest teacher. Believe in you. Know that you are possible. Go get what's yours. Don't let anybody stop you. The no's don't mean anything. You do have a purpose. 2023 will be your best year if you believe it. And I say change is now. Don't let the negative voices in your head stop you. Don't let the negative people get in your way. Don't let anything keep you from your dreams. And you have to believe in more. Learn from your pain. Break the cycle and say yes to you today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say change is now. And if you want physical change, if you want financial change, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then change now. Stop debating. Make a sacrifice for something that can change your entire life. When Nate and I got started in this, we didn't have the money. We borrowed it. And I thank God. Because we knew that we had to take action in order to bring forth the change. So we're looking for the ones out there. Yes, we're looking for the ones who say, you know what, 2023 is my year. Get back with the person that invited you on here tonight. Say yes to you. Say yes to your tomorrow. Say yes to change. And know that pain is the greatest teacher. Learn the lesson. Grow from it. Allow your test to become your testimony. And I promise you, that mess will become your message. So get back with the person who invited you on here tonight. Say yes, grab these products, commit to you. The 15-day challenge is changing lives. I could go on and on. I didn't even go into all of the products, but I can tell you that change is right now. And when you realize that, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that it's your winning season, then I could tell you that right now you'll be getting back with that person and say, you know what, I'm ready. Let's. All right. Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Because I can tell you, everybody around me winning. We are winning. You're gonna win. You just gotta make a decision. Everything around me winning, all right? Woke up to a feel on a dress. How many of y'all can feel that? Right? Tired of trying to keep your head up. Come on, man. I don't care what it looks like. Gotta break the cycle. Come on, y'all. Hey, you just gotta break it. Hey, we're blessed. We're blessed. Blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. We winning. How many of y'all winning? Right? Yeah, this goes time. I see you, Erica. Come on, y'all. Come on, Cindy. I see y'all, IG. Come on, y'all. Stop playing. All right? Yes. Y'all better believe it. Change it now. Yes, you are. You winning. I see you, Erica. Yes. If you knew what I knew, you would stay close. Struggles don't last always, y'all. Come on. All right? But it teaches us, right? Allow it to teach you. Allow yourself to grow and say yes to what we know without a shadow of a doubt will bring forth change. All right? Good night, y'all. Love y'all. Join us back tomorrow. All right? Tomorrow, what do we have? Tomorrow, I know we got another call. All right, we got calls at different times. Oh, tomorrow, I do know at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, you're going to hear from both my husband and myself. All right? So, Mr. Io, himself, and at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 on the West Coast, from none other than Priscilla Mitchell. She turned her illegal hustle into a hustle, a legal hustle, right here with this incredible company